All CRL Lawrence panic handles are manufactured at our new 270,000 square foot manufacturing plant, which is here in Vernon, California. CRL Lawrence manufactures products under our QS 9000 quality system for the automotive industry, including OEM programs for companies like Freightliner and Toyota. We have CNC machines and automated equipment for manufacturing our panic handles, as well as many manual handles, transaction, and bullet-resistant products. Our panic handles are made on our cell-based production area. We start with our tubular stainless steel that goes through our bending equipment, which forms it into shape. There are several complicated bends in this handle, so this is done several times on the same piece. This has to be done extremely accurately so that these handles will meet our specifications and give our tempers confidence that they will mount correctly on the door lights that they cut out. After all the bends have been put in the handle, then we actually saw the handle off to the correct dimension. This assures us that any stretching that may have occurred during the bending process will still allow the handle to be shaped properly. We do have standard sizes, and CRL can also run custom sizes quickly through our production equipment. After the handle has been cut to size, we put it into our drilling fixture, which drills and taps all the locations where we have to insert bolts and mounting hardware. Then it goes into our CNC machine, which is computerized to do all of the cutting and drilling of the handle itself. This gives CRL superior accuracy and workmanship, especially over companies that do this by hand. We can set this equipment up for custom runs or put in computer programs that easily make several different types of standard sizes. These handles are available in both polished and brushed stainless steel. Because we use this automated equipment in a production line environment, CRL has the capacity to keep up with the market demand. We have plenty of capacity to expand it if we get large orders or must meet deadlines. We want to make sure that our customers are happy, and your customers are happy as well with the installation of the CRL panic handles. Now, this videotape will run you through a quick step-by-step instruction on how to mount the handle to the glass and then mount the door into the opening and do all the adjustments necessary to make sure that that door is functioning properly. We want to make sure that you know that there is written instructions inside every package. Each handle is a little bit different depending on the accessories that you purchase. This installation will be our standard panic handle with a key access on the outside and also a dogging feature on the inside of the door. Now, on these written instructions, it shows you all the critical elements that are needed to making sure that this handle is installed properly. And you want to make sure that the handle is installed properly at the fabrication location to make sure that it fits on the glass properly, the glass is the right size, and when you ship that door, everything is going to be correct. We also show you how to install the door and then make the final adjustments. We do have these videos available if you want to send them out to your customers that are doing the door installations to train their people. Now, this video is designed to introduce you to the CRL Lawrence Company panic handles. Now, CRL Lawrence Company offers both our panic handle as well as a deadbolt and an electronic egress handle, and the installation is similar for all three. What we're going to show you today, though, is our installation of our panic handle, which is a UL-listed 305 certified product. Now, this is tested in outside laboratories by UL and meets all the certifications for a panic handle system. Now, at CRL Lawrence Company, when you order a panic handle, you get the handle and everything that you need to do the installation. If you order the rails also with the door, they come all prepped with all the holes drilled that you need to do your installation. If you have a key access or any of the different attaching hardware that you order will also come with the system. Now, CRL Lawrence Company also offers a kit to our master distributors which gives you spare parts for anything that you might lose or damage in doing any of our installations, as far as small screws or if you let the Loctite set too long before you do the installation, along with all the small wrenches, Allen wrenches, and everything else that you need to make this installation complete. Now, when you open up the crate, you want to make sure that you look for 3 envelopes. The first one is for the door fabricator who's putting the handle on the door in their shop. This gives you all the tools and information along with written instructions, everything that you need to do that installation. The second packet is for the installer. This has all the tools and any special parts as well as written instructions the installer would need to hang the door as well as do any small adjustments to make sure that that door is functioning properly in the field. And then the third set is the owner's manual. This has all the information the owner is going to need on how to maintain the handle. Also, you want to make sure that you put the keys in this envelope after you do your installation. Now, each door rail comes individually packaged. Once you take it out of the box and out of the plastic sleeve, you simply apply it to the bottom of the door, sliding it on until the shims hit the glass. Then pull out each shim, make sure it's pushed in firmly and centered on the door. The glass will actually square up the door, so you want to make sure that your glass has been checked before you start your installation. Now we're going to start from the middle and work our way out, just hand tightening each of these hex head screws with the 8-inch hex head wrench that comes in the package. Now we're going to go back and tighten each one until the top of the hex head wrench bends past the body. Then you'll know that you have the proper torque. You want to make sure that you tighten the rail on before you apply the mounting hardware, because you will need access to these hex head screws. Each one of these has a nylon patch material on it that will keep that fastener in place. However, you can back it out or readjust it at any time. We'll now apply the bottom pivot to the slide block. Now, there's screw locations for all the different type of hardware you may want to mount. If you want more detail in how to apply the CRL door rails, you can refer to our CRL door rail installation video. We're now going to apply the top rail. Now, this rail is prepped with 2 pre-drilled holes that are also threaded for mounting the top adapter block. Also, we have a hole going through the cladding in the side of the rail where the handle will be mounted. You want to make sure that this hole lines up on the same side of the glass as the holes that have been pre-drilled for mounting the handle. We'll now slide this on the glass exactly like we did the first rail, pushing it against the shims, taking those out, and then pushing it firmly against the glass. And now again, we'll tighten each one of the hex head screws from the center out. These screws have the nylon patch also, so they won't back out. They'll stay mounted firmly. Again, once they're hand tightened, we'll go back and tighten each one of them again until the top of the hex head wrench twists past the body. One of the advantages of the CRL wedge lock system is if you ever have to go back to do any type of adjusting on the rail, you can simply loosen these screws and make any adjustments necessary. We'll now mount the adapter block to the top rail. The adapter block comes with these adjustable pads that enable you to adjust the height up or down depending on the top rail that you're using. This adapter block can also be mounted in a bottom rail if you have the handle going down toward the floor. As we point out in the instructions, it's very important from this point on to apply Loctite liberally to all parts that will be fastened onto the panic handle. It's important that we have Loctite on all the threads to ensure that this handle will not back off over time. Now that the Loctite's been applied, we're going to mount the adapter block into the rail. The proper Allen wrench comes with the kit supplied. You want to make sure that you keep this a little bit loose because we may need to do a little adjusting before we can thread the handle onto the adapter block. We're now going to apply the top mounting hardware. In this case, it's an end-load arm, so that when we hang this door, this will attach to an overhead door closer. If you want more information on the different parts and accessories that you can mount to the rails, refer to the CRL Company door rail installation video. Now we're going to apply the exterior fixed handle to the glass. You've already taken off all of the parts when you remove this from the packaging. Before we begin, we're going to make sure that we add our Loctite to each one of the threaded posts. Remember to add your Loctite liberally so that these posts cannot back out over time. Now we'll line the exterior handle up with the holes in the glass and simply thread the mounting brackets into the handle. In the package, you'll get a special spanner wrench that is designed specifically for mounting this handle. Nobody can take this handle off or readjust it without this special tool. You'll also need this tool to take the original handle out of the packaging when it arrives. It's preferable to use a non-marring wrench when tightening the inside cap. However, if you don't have one, make sure that you use some setting blocks or other rubber material that will protect it against the jaws on a standard pair of pliers. Now, to mount the interior panic bar, you want to make sure that the actuator post is lined up to the 3-hole cutout in your glass. This reverse angle will help illustrate how to install the actuator post into the panic handle. First of all, this is a spring-actuated plunger, and you want to make sure that this piece is held firmly in place when you do this installation. When you install this, you've got to push this into the opening and turn it a little bit to get that edge to slide down inside. Once that post is in, you want to make sure that this is lined up so that there's an even gap on all sides, so when this is operating, it's not going to scrape. If for some reason it doesn't line up, then you have to refer to applying the different washers to move this left, right, up or down so that actuator post will be centered in the opening. Then make sure that the top fitting aligns with the hole cut in your top rail. We're now going to fasten the top bracket connector. First, we want to make sure that we lift it out and apply Loctite liberally to the threaded area. Now we're going to push this through the hole in the rail and actually thread it into the top adapter block. This should be easy if you've left the top adapter block loose so that you can help with your alignment. If you have any problem with the top rail or this hole aligning with the panic handle, then you can refer to your top door rail installation instructions if you need to loosen the top rail and adjust it. You're going to make sure that this is firmly tightened. Then with your Allen wrench supplied, tighten the adapter block firmly. Remember, you've also put threadlock on all of these screws so they'll stay in place. Now we want to measure from the glass to the center line of the panic handle. This should be 2 inches. If there's any discrepancies, you can adjust the screw on the adapter bracket to make sure that we have this 2-inch dimension correct. Place interior panic handle over pivoting end of exterior horizontal handle retainer. First, rotating the pivoting projection so that the cross hole is aligned to the hole in the horizontal bar. Insert the threaded pin and tighten with your Allen wrench. You may want to use the Allen wrench to align these holes. It'll make it much easier to put in the threaded pin. You want to make sure that you've applied your Loctite liberally to the threaded pin before the installation. You want to make sure that this pin is tightened so that it's about flush with the outside of the handle. Now the next step in our handle procedure is the most critical part of your handle installation. We must make sure that the handle actuator post is lined up correctly. To do this, we want to select the number 1 bushing, and if you refer to your instruction sheet, you'll see these clearly marked, that will align all of the holes in the center of the 3-hole patch cut in the glass. Now we want to make sure that we add our thread lock material to the screw. Then we're going to take our key access, align it to the actuator post, and slide it into the holes in the glass. We're now going to hand tighten the screw, then check the actuator post to make sure that it's centered properly in the handle. If this is not centered properly or lined up correctly, again, refer to your instructions on how to select a different bushing that will push that actuator post left, right, up or down to make sure that there's proper clearance all the way around it. Once this is lined up correctly, we want to firmly set our screw so that it's flush with the actuator post. You want to make sure that there's correct clearance so that you won't get any scraping that over time can affect the operation of the handle. Again, we want to make sure to refer to our installation instructions that clearly show the different bushings available to make sure that that hole lines up correctly. And this step is complete. Now the handle mounting procedure is complete, but before we pack it and ship it, we want to make sure that it operates correctly. First, check the dogging feature by pushing the handle in and out and making sure that you can latch the dogging slide bolt easily. Now you want to make sure that the key works in the key access. Once the key is inserted, you should be able to twist this fairly easily, making the top latch bolt go up and down. If you look at the instructions, it will give you details on how to change out the cylinder if this needs to be done over time. Make sure that your key goes back into the envelope because the installer and owner will need this when making the installation. Also, all the tools that are needed to do the installation and make any door adjustments in the field are also in this envelope along with a full set of instructions. So make sure that these are left with the door when you ship it to your customer. Now we're going to install the seal lawrence panic door into an opening. Now this opening has already been set up with a seal lawrence header. If you've ordered the header complete with the door, the strike is already going to be applied at the factory, and all of the holes and setup for your door closer will be done as well. Now we've also installed the bottom pivot, made sure that the header is set correctly in the opening, and now we're ready for our door. When the door is ready to be installed, whether you're removing it from a truck or a rack or from a fixed position, you want to make sure that you apply suction cups and never use the handle to manipulate the door. By using the handle, you may break the glass because of the way the holes are located. We also recommend that you take off the end caps now because these need to be removed on the pivot side for you to get access to the mounting hardware and set the door in place. Now we're ready to put the door in the mounting position. We want to make sure that we use the CRL roller blocks or a block of wood so that we don't do any damage to the bottom or top rail. Right now we're using the CRL roller block so we won't do any damage to the cladding or bottom rail when we stand up the door. Now the first step in your door installation is to make sure that the door closer spindle is put in the open position. Now whether your door closer is overhead or in the floor, this procedure must be followed. Once the spindle is in the open position, you're then going to set the door on the bottom spindle and then manipulate the door in place to slide the top mounting hardware over your door closer spindle. Now you want to line up your door to the open spindle and slide it forward so your top mounting bracket locks on. Now you want to put in your mounting bracket to lock the door in place on the top spindle. Once the retaining block is secure in your end load arm, make sure that you dog down the handle and then very slowly and carefully close the door, checking the gaps on both sides to make sure we don't scrape on the header or either of the side jambs. Once we know the clearance is correct, we can go back and make any adjustments that we need to on the top and bottom rail easily without taking the door down with the CRL slide blocks. Simply loosen the adjustment screws and you can adjust the door back and forth in the opening without taking it down. Once the gaps are lined up, your door is set, and now you're ready for your final handle adjustments. Now that we know that the door is swinging properly, we want to make sure that the handle is lined up correctly. Again, we're going to close the door slowly to make sure the top bolt is engaging properly into the strike. This needs to be lined up and engaging by at least a 1/16 to an 1/8 of an inch above the center of the top roller. If the top bolt does not engage in the strike properly, this can be adjusted. To do this, you need to take the Allen wrench supplied and take the hex set screw and take it completely out. This is actually screwing into a threaded hole in the through bolt itself. Be careful not to drop this. It's a small screw. Once the set screw has been totally removed, you can adjust the latch bolt up or down by turning it in one full revolution. Now you must make a complete revolution in order for the hole to line up correctly so you can reinstall the set screw. Now you can adjust it down by turning it one full revolution down into the handle, and you can adjust it up by a 1/16 of an inch by making one revolution the opposite way back out of the handle. Each revolution gives you 1/16 of adjustment, and you can turn this up to 4 revolutions in each direction. Once your adjustment is complete, make sure that your set screw is fully reinstalled tightly. Then we want to make sure and check that our through bolt is latching properly. You want to make sure it's not dragging across the header as it closes, and you also want to make sure that it's fully engaged in the strike when it's latched. Now once this latch bolt is engaging properly, you want to close the door and see if there's any play when that latch bolt is engaged. If there is, which you can see in this instance, you want to open the door, take off the rubber pads on the back of the strike, and using the Allen wrench supplied, adjust the stop screws in and out so that when that door closes and latches, there's no play left between the header and the strike. It's important that the top rail closes firmly against the strike, but not too tight so that the latch bolt will not engage properly. Keep making this adjustment until you feel comfortable with the way the door closes. You don't want to have a lot of play or rattling when the door is closed, because this can add unneeded wear and tear on the handle over many years of use. Now there's a lot more information about our panic handles as well as our deadbolts and electronic egress handles in our new DC04 door control catalog. It'll show you the different setups that are available, which handles are ANSI 1, which handles are not, so they'll fit the specifications that you need. All of our handles are UL listed and tested so that you know when you set up a panic handle or a safety egress system, it's going to comply with all the different building codes in your area. The CRL panic handles have a lot of integral parts that could get easily damaged in shipment, so we spent a lot of time in packaging. What we've actually done is mounted the handle to this sheet of plywood, and this is suspended in the middle of a crate to make sure that as this travels to its final destination, we're not going to bend this in any way or hurt any of these components. Also, the handle must stay in its exact shape because the glass tolerances that we need to mount this properly cannot be out by 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch, so we make sure that it's going to get there in one piece. Okay, now that handle's installed, it's floating inside the middle of that crate, and there's no way it can get changed out of shape or any of the components damaged. C.R. Lawrence Company has invested a lot of money designing and developing our new egress handle systems for the heavy glass door industry. CRL offers high-quality products, complete technical support, and we can ship these products from any of our 18 locations in the United States or Canada. We offer complete installation training for all of our distributors.